One of my good friends recently asked me to do an analysis of Tesla. I thought it'd be a great idea. Now, personally, I don't own any shares. I have no open options positions in Tesla at the moment, but Tesla has this huge cult following behind it. People love the vehicles. Elon's a very polarizing individual, whether you love him or you hate him. Also, Tesla's been down about 20% in the last 3 months. So it's a name that's always making headlines. People want to know, hey, should I buy more shares? Should I sell what I have? It's always one of those stocks that people have on their radar and have questions about. So here's a full breakdown of what I see from a technical analysis standpoint on Tesla. I am not a fundamental trader. This is just what I'm seeing from a chart standpoint and what I do potentially if I was to look to take a position in Tesla or if I already had shares. Okay, so here's Tesla's daily chart, and you could see this spans back from the beginning of the year. The reason I chose this standpoint was that's when Tesla made lows, right? So Tesla's up about 77% on the year. As I mentioned before, down about 20% in the last 3 months. Sentiment changes very quickly. Everyone was like, oh, let me buy Tesla, let me buy Tesla. Now that Tesla's down, people want to know, should they sell? And I know my title of my video is Tesla to 150. I am not a Tesla bear by any means. I'm not a bear or a bull naturally by anything. I trade what's in front of me, right? But let's be frank here. Tesla's down in the last few months. If you own shares, you might be a little worried. But if you got in earlier, Tesla's up 77% of the year, right? And you see we've been in this straight uptrend from January, right? We broke this trend off of our earnings, a nice gap down here. And we kind of been struggling since, right? Some bearish sentiment after earnings. But Tesla's now coming into some key support levels, right? So what I want to first cover is if you're a long-term investor, you shouldn't be looking at a 5-minute chart, right? Let's look at this 5-minute chart. Me as a day trader, I'd look at this chart, but this chart, it's not telling you much if you're a long-term investor. But if you're a long-term investor, let's start at the weekly time frame. And again, you see this uptrend still holds for the weekly, but we broke out of that, right? So one of the first keys you want to see is you want us to get back into this channel of the uptrend here. But at the same time, if you're looking to start a new position, maybe you want price to come a little lower. Now, where would I look to get price at lower? I think this could be a good area, right? It's 195 that we just bounced out of. This could work as an area to set a short-term bottom. The reason I say this is, look here. This is some weekly support we have here. This was let me change this line to white. Sorry about that. So this is some area that acted as resistance before and then acted as support from May, right? So you see this area is previously resistance. Once we cleared it, Tesla hasn't seen this level in a long time. So now what's going to be a clear key is to hold around this $200 level for Tesla. Tesla finally got back over that level today. I'd say that $200 level is key going forward. If you're a long-term investor and you already have shares, say your cost basis is 158, I would say you don't have much to worry about. But if you're looking to start a new position, I'd say to keep your eye on things. And how I determine where I'd want to buy the shares, right? I'd start, like I said, at a weekly time frame and work your way down. Let's get rid of this line. You start high and you work lower. Let's go to daily. We're looking to find some key levels of support. What support is, the area that shows that showed support, that maybe it was previous resistance. So you see, this was previous resistance here, right? This was around $193. We didn't really get here exactly yet, but you can see Tesla starting to bounce here in that area, right? And the reason is the rule of thumb is that previous resistance becomes support. So an area that was previously tough for the stock to get through then becomes support. People who had sell orders stacked there maybe flipped, and now they have buy orders at that level, right? So that's the rule of thumb, and people meaning institutions, large money, because those are the people who move price of the stock. So this is the first area to consider. I'm not saying to go long Tesla, go buy calls, go buy all shares, dump your 401k in Tesla shares. I'm saying now's a good time to start seeing price action around here, right? Do we curl up a bit? Do we move over 200? Do we get back to 205? One thing I'll also note is there's some resistance up here around 210. And again, resistance to area we see rejections at, right? So let's make this a red line. So I would expect if Tesla moves up here to see some resistance here. I'm not saying it's going to slap back down to 160. I'm saying just expect this area to be tough. If say you load up some shares around here, we start creeping up towards 212, expect price to stall a bit, right? But the key area is going to be getting back over this 220 level. You can see on the weekly time frame how that reacted. Major rejection there and having cleared that level, right? So getting back over that level will be big for Tesla bulls. And I also like the 220 number. It's nice and round. Support and resistance works a lot in psychological numbers. So people say, hey, I want to buy a Tesla at 200. Hey, I'm selling at 220. The same with market participants or hedge fund managers. They kind of set up for these whole numbers to look to share or to sell or buy shares. So that's the area of resistance I'm looking at. And if you're looking to start a new entry, now could be a good time. Again, if you're say you have $10,000 looking to buy Tesla shares, don't dump all 10,000 in at once. Maybe get $2,000 worth of shares to get your first position and load up another 2,000 after if price dips. Monitor price and look at key areas. And how I find my key areas is I'll start weekly, find resistance or support. Let's say I'll find support, resistance if I'm looking to sell, support if I'm looking to buy. Obviously, you don't buy at resistance, you buy at support. That's lower. So you want to buy at support around here, maybe add a few shares, see how we react in a few days. Maybe we go up a little more, you add some more shares. Maybe we come a little down, you add a few more shares, something like that. So let's go back to my daily time frame here. So say market sentiment gets super bearish, right? Say tomorrow, I don't know, some big event happens, Tesla drops another 20 points. I'm not wishing that happens for anybody or for me or for anything, but the next level of resistance, a key level of support here I have, there's like some daily demand here. I'm on 186. Let's go to a 4-hour chart here so we can see a little better. So support and resistance, pretty much, you just want to see consolidation in that range. You see where prices reacting to a lot, right? 186, you see consolidation here. Obviously, there was interest in this level. And once buyers and sellers broke out of agreement here, you see buyers took control and price moved higher. So you see there's some support around this area right here, right? Again, not saying we're going to that level. We did bounce so far, put into a green day today. Maybe price goes another 10 points up tomorrow or next week. We don't know. But all we can do is see where price comes into and react to those levels. So I'd watch this 186 region here if price were to go lower. So right now we're over $200. The key right now is Tesla wants to hold 200. If you're a long-term investor and you want to add more shares, maybe around 200 is a good point to do it. But I'd give things some time. There's a lot of global headlines right now, obviously with things in the Middle East, rates. There's a lot going on in the world right now. So be cautious of how you're looking to add into your positions. So on this 4-hour time frame, like I said, we see this level here. And then if we were to go lower, there's some previous resistance here at 177. And even lower, we have here around 170, which is a nice round number, right? And if you really want to get low here, we see 150. That's the number I mentioned before. If I was to load up shares on Tesla, 150, I'd 100% be a buyer, no question in my mind. Do I think we get there? I don't know. Maybe. We don't know what's going to happen with the market, right? But this is kind of a scenarios I'm playing out, right? I'm not saying this is going to happen or Tesla to 150 is actually a thing. It was a headline to get you to click. So we see here we're over 200 right now. So what I'd be looking for in the coming weeks, if I'm looking to add shares, I'd potentially look for the hold of 200, like I said, and clearing of 220. Clearing of 220 will be huge. Now, here's one thing I want to call out. Everyone likes Tesla at 250, at 300, but no one likes it at 200. So my point is when sentiment's very bearish, stocks move higher. And Tesla is one of those stocks that has a lot of short interest. And when there's a lot of short interest behind a stock, it squeezes higher. When shorts cover, meaning large institutions have to cover their short positions, that flips to a buy. And that sends the stock way higher. Like you can see Tesla get some massive short squeezes. Look here. Daily time frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green days in a row. That was from 181 all the way up to 217. Massive move. So Tesla gets these massive moves. So you want to be on the right side of that move, right? And if you're able to leverage into a position now or in the next week or two, like I said, find some key areas that are of interest to you, over 200 maybe. Let's see if we get to 190 and how we hold there. 186, like I said, is a big one. And then down this 175, 177 level or level to the downside I'd look at. This is just me doing a quick analysis here. And how are you going to take advantage of that? There's ways to do it. You can buy shares, obviously. You could buy some shares around this area or down here. You could take leap calls. What leap calls are further dated options that have less risk as opposed to short dated options. I'm not going to give any analysis on short-term option plays in this. I'll leave that up to anyone to do for themselves. But this is really just to tell you what I'm seeing in Tesla stock, right? Sentiment's been super bearish. The market could potentially be putting in some kind of bottom now. We've been selling off heavy. We had two, let's see, from monthly standpoint. Tesla's had, wow, Tesla has now had 4 red months in a row. The last time that happened was early 2022, and look how we squeezed after that. It's been just kind of on a strong run after, right? So I'd keep an eye out for things on Tesla. Definitely a big name to watch going forward. And you see, like I said, this was some previous support, a previous resistance turn support. You see, we're bouncing around this level now. New month starts up tomorrow. Let's see if Tesla wants to give us some further upside. Also, if anyone has any other ideas or charts they want to see or breakdowns I could do for them, let me know. I'll be more than happy to cover them. Thanks.